The top of Tes Amud Beis 9b. We're in the middle of quoting a Mishnaic age text. And as we discussed yesterday, the text is talking about this idea that one who pursues that which is inappropriate will not get that thing eventually. And not only that, but will end up losing what they have. And that was the Sotah, who pursued a relationship with another man. And now she's not only forbidden to her husband, but she's not allowed to be with that man either. We discussed yesterday at length what that might mean. So today we're continuing that Mishnaic age text at the top of the page with some 9b, Tes Amud Beis, with some examples from history of when that happened. So let's see them. We also find a similar concept b'nachash hakadmoni, with the primordial serpent, that is the serpent that persuaded Chava, and then she persuaded Adam to eat from the tree that God told him not to eat from in the Garden of Eden. So what happened with this Nachash? Shenosan eina b'masha eina ro'eloi. He set his eyes on that which is not forbidden to him, namely the Nachash, the primordial serpent, before it was cursed, as we're going to see in a moment, engaged in intimacy with Chava, which is inappropriate to him, obviously. And therefore, Masha Bikesh Lai Nasnalai, that which he wanted wasn't given to him. Chava still remained Adam's wife. Masha Biyadai, and that which he had, namely he used to stand upright, Natlua was taken from him. Natlua was taken from him. He was cursed that he should be on the ground rather than standing. So the Gemara goes on to say,
kind of different though, right?
Sorry?
It's a little different though, isn't it? Because
how is it different?
the thing that you desire is like the thing that's taken away. But how is the standing related to his desire for Hava?
Oh, because I guess standing up gives you a certain kind of ability for intimacy.
For the ability for intimacy. And
then he's lying on the ground, I guess, to lose that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I think so. I think so. Because as it says, Omar Kadosh Baruch Hu, God said, Ani Amarti, I had said, Yeh Melech HaKol Behema, B'chaya, that the Nachash should be a king of all the other animals, which is why it was smarter. That's how God made it to begin with. But V'achshav, now, after the sin, Aruhu Mikol HaBehema, Mikol Chayas HaSada. Now, he is cursed from all the animals. Good morning, Alan. He's cursed from all the animals. So he started off supposed to be the highest. Good morning, Alan. And now he's the worst of all the animals. Talking about the primordial snake. Further, Ani Amarti, I said, to begin with, says God, Yahalech B'kum Eskufa, that the snake should walk upright. But Akshav now, because he lusted after Chava, al Gochna Yelech, he'll move around on his stomach like a snake lying flat in the ground. Aniyai Amarti Ye Machale Michael Adam. I had said that the snake initially would eat human foods that humans eat, but Ba'achshav now, Afar Yechal eats dust. Lying on the ground, eats dust. Hu Amar, the snake said, Arik is Adam. I will kill Adam. The Esas Chava, then I can marry Chava, which is what he wanted. Achshav now, Eva Ashis, hatred or discord. God says, I will put Beinecha between you the snake, Bein Ha'isha, and between woman, Bein Zaracha, and after her children, ubein zara, between your children and ubein zara and her children, meaning snakes are always not friendly with women or humans at all, actually. We kind of don't like them. Certainly the venomous ones. Okay, so I want to take your attention to a Rashi, which solidifies what we were talking about yesterday in the past. Yeah.
Is it women that are not friendly with the snakes?
Both directions.
Snakes,
Both directions. Both directions. They're not friendly with snakes, and snakes not with them. So I want to take your attention to a Rashi, right in the middle, on top of the page. Rashi is the margin above. So Rashi quotes the words, I said, let him walk upright. And then it says, then God said, let him go on the ground.
Rashi's on the right column?
So actually, yeah, Rashi's in the left column, on the inside column, actually. Rashi's always in the inside column. But in this case, it's right on top.
Okay.
Directly on top of the Gemara, like right in the middle of the page, on top. Second line. So how do you know, says Rashi, that God said you should walk upright? So says Rashi, the klalos have to learn it. From the curse, you learn this. From the curse, God said you should lie on the ground. You know that God to begin with said, I don't want to stand up. V'chein kol ela, likewise, all of everything that follows, you learn from the curses. From the curse that God gave, you know what it was supposed to be. What it was supposed to be. Right? So this further indicates, it further solidifies everything we're talking about. How the curses themselves tell you what led to it. See, I'm adding here a little bit. Not Rashi saying that you know what it used to have before the curse, but I'm adding that it's not just you know what used to have to the curse, but you know what led to the curse too, right? Because they lead one to the other, right? The punishment is a direct result of the behavior, and therefore when you analyze the punishment, you learn what the thing was that led to it, or you learn also what it had before, now it lost. Kind of similar thing. We had a similar language, but it's more explicit in the Alter Rebbe in Tanya's last week, sometime earlier this week. The Alter Rebbe said the famous words, "Mischara noda muhusa," because the Mishnah says schar mitzvah, the reward for the mitzvah is a mitzvah. Therefore, mischara, when you analyze what the reward of a mitzvah is, noda muhusa, you know the essence of a mitzvah, right? To the point we've been saying the last few days that reward and punishment, more than telling you what God's actually going to do, because when God takes into consideration how He rewards and punishments and punishes, there's all kinds of things that are taken into consideration. But when you learn about a reward or a punishment in Scripture or in Gemara, Jewish literature, what you're learning is Mahusa. You're learning what the mitzvah is all about. By looking at the reward, you know, oh, this is what the mitzvah is about. So by looking at the curse, you know, oh, this is what the sin is all about. Or you know what the Nachash had, and now it lost it as a result of bad behavior. So just by reading the verses describing the curse, you know everything that led up to it. You know what it had before, you know what caused it to go wrong, and now you know what it lost.
So you said when you see the reward or punishment, you know what the mitzvah is.
That's correct. That's what the author writes. From the reward, you know the mitzvah itself, or from the punishment, you know what the mitzvah is itself. The Aveda, I'm sorry, because they're a direct consequence. Okay. So this is as far as the primordial snake goes. Sorry?
I think your father had mentioned that once or twice. I remember saying that in the modern society, in civil law and things like this, punishments or rewards are not necessarily related to the act that was
performed. Yeah, it's compensation usually.
Here it is. It's a direct link.
Ordinarily, like the way we live in our world, it's compensation, right? Like money is not produced by the work you do. It's compensation for the work for you do.
What you did or didn't.
That's right. It's the same money whether you painted the wall, washed the floor, or sold a shirt. It's just compensation for what you did. Right? But with Torah, no, it's a direct result. Okay, so this is the snake. We have other examples. Let's go through them. The same thing you find with Cain. Cain, of course, is the son of Adam and Chava, and the brother Hevel brought an offering, and Cain brought an offering. And the end was that Cain was banished because his offering wasn't. He killed his brother, right? He killed his brother, as a result of jealousy that God accepted his brother's offering, not his. Now, interestingly, Rashi doesn't say that the Gemara is referencing the fact that Cain was jealous of his brother and the offering was accepted. Rashi turns it into an intimacy issue. Rashi tells us, obviously not that Rashi invented this, he's quoting this from the Medrash. Each of them, Cain and Hevel, were born with twin sisters, which is who they married. Right? Now, Hevel, our sages tell us, were born with two sisters, triplets. Hevel had two sisters that were born with him. And that's what Cain was jealous of that extra sister, the extra wife. And that is what the jealousy here is, which he lost by being banished around the earth. That's what Rashi tells us. It's interesting that Rashi chooses to go with that rather than the verse, which just says he was jealous of his brother's offering. I'm just pointing that out there. You can see other examples of this also.
Two twin sisters?
Hevel did. The brother whose offering was accepted was born with two twin sisters, whereas Cain was born with one. And Cain was jealous of his brother who had an extra sister. That's what Rashi tells us, quoting from the Medrash. Okay, Kairach as well. Kairach, famous Kairach, who rebelled against Aaron and Moshe. He was jealous and he wanted to be a Kohen, even though he himself was a Levi. And what happened? He was swallowed into the ground, so he's no longer performing his job as a Levi either. Okay. Bilam as well. Bilam was jealous. Bilam is the prophet who was hired by Balak, the king Balak, to curse the Jewish people and ended up giving blessings. And Rashi tells us, quoting from the Gemara, which we actually learned in Sanhedrin, that Bilam was jealous of Balak's money. That's why he ended up doing it, right? The Torah describes how Balak paid him. And the end was, the Gemara tells us over there that he went to go collect his money and in Midian, and that's where he was killed. He was killed in Midian over the money he was jealous about.
Isn't it true that Korach and Bilam are two people who will never reach Olam Haba?
Yeah, there's a mention in Sanhedrin. Yeah. Yes. A number of people mentioned here in this list are in Sanhedrin part of people who are not in the list of the world to come. Yes.
What I can't understand.
When we look at Gemara in Sanhedrin.
What I can't understand is how, with Cain and Abel, how the bad one won, the bad one lived, and the good one gets killed.
Well, the good one got killed by the bad one.
But it shouldn't happen. He brought the beautiful offering. He did everything that God wanted to, and he got killed.
Yeah,
God could have set up something bad for his brother, for Cain, for that.
Cain had a very long and torturous life. Actually, no, in the end he was killed by his great-grandson, right?
Yeah.
He was killed by his great-grandson, wasn't he?
One of them in the family.
By Tuval Cain. Right? He was killed later by his great-grandkid. He had a long, torturous life, and then he got killed in the end, I think. Right? Isn't that what happened?
I don't recall.
This is ringing a bell. Pretty sure. Okay. Someone watching the class later can let us know. Pretty sure what it is. We'll look it up later. Anyway, now the next on the list is Doeg. Doeg, we also learned about him in Sanhedrin, is the chief Avir Aroyim, the chief shepherd, and one of the greatest students of Torah, but was jealous of King David. And he said there's a whole pasuk, there's a whole verse in which he describes the jealousy of King David, and then he died. Likewise, Achitophel, we also learned about him in Sanhedrin, that he had a vision, and in the vision he misinterpreted the vision to mean that he was going to be king. In the end, I think it was a grandson or a son that became king, not him. And because he had this vision of him trying to become king, he tried to overthrow King David, but also died prematurely. Then there's Gehazi. Gehazi is a student of Elisha who tried to take the money of Naaman, right? Naaman had leprosy and he came to Elisha to get it healed, and Gehazi was the go-between, and Gehazi basically extorted him for money, and as a result of that, he himself got leprosy. Avshalom is the son of King David, who also tried to become king and, of course, died. Adoniyahu is another son of David, who also tried to become king, but lost, not in battle, but lost support when King Solomon was appointed as king, King Shlomo Melech. And the end was, Adoniyahu wanted to be with one of his father's wives, Avishag, and as a result of that was killed by King Shlomo Melech. Then you have Uzziyahu. Uzziyahu is also one of the kings who, the Pasuk says, he offered coveted. He was a king, he was jealous, he wanted to be a Kohen, and offered incense in the temple, or tried to, and right there on the spot, his forehead got leprosy, got the tzaras. Haman as well tried to kill the Jewish people, was jealous of money, and lost it all. Now, all these people, they all gazed their eyes, they all were jealous, they all wanted that which was not appropriate for them, and that which they wanted, they didn't get, and that which they had, was taken from them. Okay, so there's a lot to be said about this, and really a lot of thought has to be given to this. Why all these examples? What each example adds that the other one didn't have? Why is it in this order? Because it's not necessarily in chronological order. For example, Gehazi is inserted. First of all, Gehazi is inserted between Achisophel and Avshalom, when Gehazi actually comes later. Right? Gehazi is a student of Elisha. Doeg, Achisophel, and Avshalom, and Adoniyahu. Those are four examples that are the life of King David and King Solomon. Gehazi comes later, but yet Gehazi is inserted there. It's interesting why it's in that order. So it's not just chronological. Anything else out of chronological order? No, I don't think so. I think everything else is in chronological order, except with the exception of Gehazi. So it's interesting to note that. Additionally, what does each thing add to is it just examples? Okay, it's examples. Or is it there's something deeper here? Yeah, each of these examples inform us some detail about what this means. And a person is jealous of something else that's not appropriate for him. Meaning there are things, let's say, for example, there's one thing, you want somebody else's wife. That's a real crass jealousy. But then there is someone who wants to be a Kohen. Maybe that's a noble jealousy. Right? But yet we're being told it's also incorrect. That's not appropriate for you. Right? So we have to think about what each of these people were jealous of and what was the grounds for their jealousy. And what's that teaching us about this principle that person desires it and it's inappropriate, they won't get it. And then God forbid it'll cause them to lose that which they have also. So I don't necessarily have the answer to that, but that's, I think, where we should be thinking. Okay, we'll stop over here. It's a busy day today. It's Erev Pesach. It's effectively Erev Pesach. Got to prepare for Shabbos. We got to burn our chametz. Got to get rid of whatever else you have. Prepare for the Seder night also. Leave whatever you can. You should prepare now for your Seder night. Okay, preparing on Shabbos for Yom Tov is problematic. Karpas, if you do your maror, make sure it's closed, otherwise you'll lose its. You should do your not if you do your maror. You should prepare your maror today, grind it, and cover it, otherwise you'll lose its bitterness. Okay, have a good day. And a good night.
Levi.
Alan, good Shabbos.
Yes, sir.
Good Yom Tov. Enjoy your Seder.
Thank you. Make
it a meaningful and good one.
For sure.
Okay, be well.